Estelle?
I'm okay. I got a propel. Thank you. Thank you.
Coach, you need one?
Yes, please. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
This is the Games 13 and 14 press conference featuring the Texas Longhorns, joined by head coach Mike White, and our student athletes are Courtney Day, Haley Dulcini, and Estelle Check. Questions for our student athletes to begin, please. Estelle, take me through that first game. You were outstanding. I think it was probably a situation all hands on deck, but you just rode it all the way through. Tell us what was working for you and how you felt out there.
My curveball was looking really good for me that game, just staying low in the zone and hitting my spots. That's what really worked for me, keeping the hitters off balance. And, you know, I didn't have many strikeouts that game, but my defense worked a hell of a game for me, and they were behind me the whole entire game. So I appreciate that a lot.
Darren, go ahead.
All right. Garen, Amick of the Tulsa World. I think you all three were in the dugout, the play that pushed you in front, where you scored 3 off the single, and then the 2 mistakes by OSU defensively. Could you three give us a sense of what was going through your mind on a play like that, and how you're feeling, if you recall how you were feeling?
Start with Courtney, please.
It was a big moment. It was definitely a momentum shift in our energy as a team, and after that happened, I mean, we were hyped, and we took advantage of the next however many outs. Haley came in and did her job, and yeah.
Haley?
Yeah, I think, like Courtney said, big momentum shift, but I think it was a momentum grab for us. You know, I think we did a really good job as an offense to keep tacking on those runs, and then as a defense to play, you know, just solid softball behind me and Estelle today. So I think that was a perfect recipe.
Estelle?
Yeah, we definitely had the more after that. I mean, I know in the dugout we were hype, and we had Haley's back, and we know that she had ours. So,
Haley, when you came in the game, it was 3-0, and then you gave up the home run. How much did it mean to you in the circle when you got those 3 runs back on the home run?
Oh, it's a huge weight lifted off your shoulder. You know, I had trust in our offense the whole time with the way they've been hitting the ball all week and, you know, the last 3 weeks of our season. But, you know, getting those runs back and then especially getting that one ahead, it was a lot easier to do my job and just hit your spots and let your defense work.
Justin?
Estelle, when did you find out you were going to get the starts? Like, how far in advance?
I knew I was going to start the first game yesterday before we played Arizona. And then I knew that I was going to start the second game right after the first game.
I'll say it slow. Jenny?
Hey, guys. Jenny Carlson with the Oklahoman. Estelle, can you talk about the first inning and the second game? They score. Alexander gets on. She comes around, scores. But then they hit some balls hard, but nothing more across. How important was that for you to shut them off at that point?
It was very important. And wait, are you talking about in the first inning how they didn't score anymore? Yeah. Okay, yes. Well, I knew my defense had me, and I think I got 3 pop-ups after that, and I was just counting on my defense, and I knew that they had my back. And obviously, Haley came in after the second inning, and she had my back, and I thank her a lot for that.
Justin?
Haley, obviously you've done a lot of work in the circle, but especially in the postseason when you haven't been in the circle, you've really taken on that great cheerleader role, so to speak. Can you just talk about that? Because I feel like there's things that go into that really have nothing to do with in the circle itself.
Yeah, I mean, I think with being a 5th year and being around and having, you know, Estelle and Sophia to kind of help mentor, these are huge moments, you know, moments I never even had until, 5th year, but just seeing them thrive in their role. And, Sophia in that last game of Arkansas, to have a freshman do that is big time. To have Estelle come in and help me out last night and then start us off today and keep us going, that's why we're sitting here right now.
Scott Wright with the Oklahoman. Courtney, can you talk about kind of what you've been seeing at the plate? You had obviously the 2 home runs today, and then on top of that, just what it feels like to know that you're going to go play for a national championship here in a couple of days.
Well, me and Coach Singh have been really working on like my swing at different stances, and we finally found a stance that we've been comfortable with, or that I've been comfortable with, and it's really been helping me see the ball better. And so when a pitcher makes a mistake, I'm able to take advantage of it, which I did today, at least, and yesterday. But and then, sorry, what was your next question? Oh, I mean, it's everything. I mean, we've been fighting all season. I mean, Coach White talks about being dangerous, and we've proven that. And then now we're just playing for the Supers and trying to get them as far as possible. So, I mean, which we've made it as far as possible. So, yeah. Okay, I'm done.
Justin.
For Estelle and Haley both, you transferred to Texas, and I think it was mentioned in the press conference earlier this week. You came here to play in the World Series. Well, now you're not just going to play in the World Series; you're going to play for a national title.
Mm-hmm.
Can either of you, both of you, kind of sum up what that's like, because you're getting to play on the last day of the season now?
Start with Estelle, please.
It's crazy. It's mind-boggling, and I wouldn't want to go with it through it with anyone else. I mean, our pitching staff is stacked, our hitting stacked, our defense stacked. Like, we're so hyped, and no one thought that we would be here, but we proved everyone wrong, and we're going to play very hard. Sorry, I was trying not to use bad words.
Haley.
I mean, yeah. When we got here initially, we were like, this is a cherry on top. We get to play in the World Series, us fifth years. And now, I mean, we are literally extending our careers to the very last day. And I think that means the world. And we're in a position we can't lose. Like she said, no one had us being here at all, let alone going and competing for a national championship. So for us, we're playing free. We're playing for each other. And I think that's the best part of all of this.
Anything else for our student athletes? All right, Courtney, Haley, Estelle, thank you very much for your time. Appreciate it. Congratulations. Questions for Coach White, please. Garen?
Mike, same thing on the play where things sort of unraveled for OSU, and you pushed through. What was your mindset? What were you thinking? What was going through your head there?
Run, let's go. I mean, it's kind of ironic because we have been shooting ourselves in the foot all year, and especially against OSU, and we've beaten ourselves a lot of times by making errors. They've really put a lot of pressure on with their speed and their ability to do the short game, and you don't know what's coming. And we've kind of hurt ourselves. And today it was they kind of we put the pressure on them, and it reversed itself. So our defense played fantastic. But as far as that happening, that's part of the game. And it's about doing the simple things sometimes, like playing catch and making good throws and making good decisions. But when you start getting out there and there's 14,000 people, it's nerve-wracking, and I feel for them. Nobody wants to go out and losing like that, but we've been there too.
Justin?
Coach, you've played in a lot of postseasons, you've played in a lot of World Series, but even you're in uncharted territory for yourself now. Can you sum up that side of it? Because this is new even to Mike White.
Exactly. That's what the team said to me. This is the best team I've ever had. So, at times it didn't feel like that. Truthfully, it's been one of the hardest years I've ever had to coach. Just the ups and downs and the things that have happened. It's been difficult, but and I credit to my coaching staff as well. We've kind of pulled things together. We're learning as we go. I've only really been coaching 12 years as a head coach, more or less. I think I can't even keep track now. It's like being on a treadmill; it just goes. So I'm always learning. I'm learning how to, this new age, Generation Z, is it, or whatever? I don't know, a Z, we start back at A soon, or, I don't know. But, it's learning about, what makes them tick. It's not about what I want, it's about what makes them work. And we've been able to do that. We've helped accommodate what they need and what we need, and we're on the same page, and you can finally start to see it come together. I mean, I'm telling you, like I said last night, in March, I never have thought we'd be in this position. But, credit to the team. They've stuck it out, and they're playing really hard right now.
Eli?
Eli Letterman, Tulsa World. Mike, I think you guys are now 6 or 7 or something like that in elimination games, and tonight you were down 5-0. Where does that resolve come from with this team to battle back in those situations?
Well, I started off as I showed them my room key, and I said, I don't want to give this back. you know, so you're playing for room keys. It's like, you know, just kind of whatever motivation you can get them going for. And, you know, it's like, let's just keep going and see what we can do here. You know, we're playing free. It's carefree, but not careless. You know, it's really, and I've learned that throughout my career, is that, you know, as a pitcher myself, when I put pressure on myself, I didn't perform as well. And it wasn't until, you know, later in my career I learned how to just relax and say, you know, there's worse things in life that can happen. And I think the team has taken that to heart. I think they understand it. And before we started that game, we said, hey, we're here, we're free. And just like the ladies talked about, that's kind of been our mantra here the last couple of weeks, and I think it's freed them up.
Scott Wright with the Oklahoman. Mike, to follow up on that, how much was that, you know, what you took to your team to prepare them for the day, needing to win twice against a team that's kind of had your number the last couple of years? And then how much does that feed into what's ahead with Oklahoma?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, you know, we try to reverse it, and we said, well, the pressure's on them because we have nothing to lose. They're supposed to win, you know, and we know that, you know, I say this about super regionals, the most important game's the second game because that's the momentum shifter. And that's what we got today. We got that momentum shift of our great pitching and hitting performance. You know, and of course, they always had the ace in the hole, Maxwell, right? And we got to beat Maxwell, but, you know, we got to get to Maxwell first. And so the focus was really on the first game and see what happens and then just go from there. And being down 5-0, you know, it's tough. You start thinking about, you know, the end of the season and you know, what you're going to say and what you're going to do. And then, you know, but you hang in there and you keep the spirits of the team up and see how they respond. Going against Oklahoma, you know, that's the best team, you know, that we've seen this year for sure, offensively throughout, you know, 1 to 9. They've got people on the bench we'd love to have, as most people do. You know, and they can start trouble in multiple ways. They can start it with a short game. They can long ball you. They got great eyes. They're patient, and of course they got you know, a pitching staff with 3 really good pitchers on it. So it's you know, but we got to go out there. It's 0-0. It doesn't matter where our records are, and it's going to be who can make the most of their opportunities. Obviously, we've got to make sure that we don't give up the big numbers like we did the other day against them, and hang in there.
Justin?
Can you talk about the transfers you brought in? Haley, Estelle, obviously coming through for you at the biggest point in the season. Again, it's kind of like I asked them, you brought them in for this moment and they delivered.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, you know, I mean, I think that's, you know, how many teams in this tournament right now that have transfers? You know, quite a few, right? I mean, even UCLA, the pitcher, you know, it's become almost a necessary part to be able to fill in some blanks in your lineup because of, yeah, and maybe it may even out because of early recruiting, you know, because of early recruiting, you'd make some mistakes here and there. You know, even Oklahoma, right? I mean, they've had a number of really good transfers that have helped their program out. So it's kind of like almost a necessary evil right now, where, you know, using the transfer portal to fill in your holes in your lineup. And we were able to. We knew we needed a deeper pitching staff. Last year we had Shea O'Leary. And unfortunately, Shea, you know, we were counting on Shea being a big part of that lineup this year. And so we've been able to do it with what we considered to be our number 2 coming in on number 1. You know, we thought Haley and her would be number 1. And, you know, she had that freak injury right before Christmas and just never could get back. So thank goodness we had transfers.
Coach, we have a question on Zoom from Eric Lopez.
Coach, I mean, this incredible run, which started in Seattle, winning the regional, going to Fayetteville, beating Arkansas, the SEC champs, coming here, beating UCLA, then you dropped OU, beat Arizona and Oak State twice. Was there a moment during this run where you thought this was possible to get to the championship? Just put this into context. This has been a remarkable run that nobody's really seen in the sport.
Wow. Thank you for that. You know, it's really, in some cases, it hasn't hit home because you don't get a lot of time to think about it. You just go out there and you play and you say anything's possible and you lead your team that way. And, you know, it's about executing. And my goodness, I mean, we are playing some really good defense right now. And we're making the plays and we're getting good pitching. I think we've, you know, since the midpoint of the year, we've had some pretty good pitching. You know, Haley's been really consistent for us, but we've had different people step up with hitting. Janae Jefferson has been amazingly consistent the whole year. But to get those big home runs from lower in the order, that's really helped. But to answer your question, No, I mean, I would have to be honest and say this is unbelievable. I really, it's going to sink in sooner or later, but I really not sinking in right now.
All right, Coach, another question on Zoom from Graham Hayes.
Mike, with Estelle starting the first game today, how much of that was based off of what you saw yesterday from her as opposed to the matchups that you were looking at with Oklahoma State?
Well, I actually told her yesterday, if you remember what she said in the thing before the game, that she was going to pitch. She hadn't pitched against them all year. I thought she'd be a good matchup against their lefties. We had to control their righty power, and so it worked out, and we were able to get some runs. So, starting the second game, that was a tough question. I was tossing backwards and forwards whether to start, Haley, but I didn't think Haley could go the whole game. I was really worried about her stamina, and I figured if we're going to start Haley and bring Estelle in, she'd have to sit for a while. So I really wanted to just keep it rolling. And she got a couple innings, 3 innings for us, and it worked out pretty well.
Yeah, I'd say it worked out pretty well. Thank you, Coach White. We appreciate it. Congratulations.
Thank you very much. Appreciate you all.